I've been editing videos for 11 years. My work has reached over 30 million views, and I edit full time, earning over $5,000 a month for a YouTube channel with 5 million subscribers. In this video, I'm condensing my 11 years of experience into 11 brutally honest editing lessons that will transform how you edit. Lesson 1 is focus on the 3 editing rules: emotion, story, and rhythm. When it comes to editing, you need to focus on these 3 pillars for every cut you make. If you can make viewers feel something, keep them following a story, and hold their attention through rhythm, you've nailed what makes editing so powerful. This concept comes from Oscar-winning editor Walter Murch, who, in his book In the Blink of an Eye, introduces what he calls the rule of 6. Murch says every cut should fulfill 6 criteria, but the first 3, emotion, story, and rhythm, are by far the most important though. In fact, he even assigns them percentages of importance. Emotion accounts for 51%, story for 23%, and rhythm for 10%. Combined, they make up 84% of what makes a great cut work. Emotion is what grabs the viewer before they even fully process the story. Story provides a reason for viewers to stay interested, and rhythm, while it accounts for only 10% of a great cut, it keeps everything engaging and makes everything feel right. So every time you make a cut, ask yourself, does this cut enhance the emotional experience, move the story forward, and keep the pace engaging? If you answer yes to all 3 of these questions, then you're on the right track. And in fact, these rules are so important that if you don't fully understand them, your videos are gonna be complete dog shit. So the next 3 lessons focus on each rule much more in depth to drive these lessons home. Lesson number 2 is make viewers feel something. Emotion is king, and that's not just my opinion. Walter Murch says it himself. You have to keep your fingers on that emotional pulse as an editor. Each cut should amplify the emotional tone of the video, whether it's suspense, joy, sadness, or even excitement. For example, if you're editing an intense action scene, use action music and quick cuts to add energy to the scene. If it's a heartfelt moment, slow down the pacing, use sad music, and let the moment breathe. Every decision, from the music you choose to the timing of your cuts, should work together to make the audience feel what you want them to feel. And music is one of the most powerful tools for emotion. Adding a dramatic score or a subtle piano melody can completely change the tone of a scene. And the same goes for sound effects. Things like risers or hit sound effects can guide the viewer's feelings without them even realizing it. But this next lesson is what everyone is talking about on YouTube, and without it, your videos are meaningless. So that brings us to lesson 3. Become more than just an editor, become a storyteller. Editing isn't just about putting clips together. Your videos should be telling a story. Every cut in your video should serve a purpose and advance the story that you're trying to tell. To help with knowing what to cut or what to leave in the video, ask yourself, does this clip move the story forward? If not, it's most likely fluff, and fluff loses viewers. Also, a lot of editors make the mistake of not knowing the difference between plot and story. Plot is what happens in your story, but the story is the meaning behind the plot. Take Finding Nemo for example. The plot is Marlin searching for his lost son Nemo, but that's not the story. The story is really about a parent learning to let go and trust. Marlin's journey isn't just about finding Nemo, it's about realizing that overprotecting his son is keeping them both from living a full life. This theme of trust and letting go is reinforced through Marlin's interactions with Dory and the many obstacles that he faces throughout the movie. So to become a better storyteller, focus on the meaning behind the plot. If your edits aren't helping to convey those themes, it's probably a good choice to change them. And lastly, don't be afraid to kill your darlings, which is a common phrase for cutting out even your favorite shots or scenes if it doesn't serve the story. But with story and emotion being super important, your edit still won't feel right if you don't execute this next lesson properly. So the next lesson is lesson number 4. Match the rhythm to serve the emotion and story. There's a widespread belief on YouTube out there that videos need to have the fastest cuts and 0 dead space in order to have better retention. And yes, while faster cuts can help retention, the ultimate retention hack is just telling an amazing story. And the best way to tell a story is to have the right pacing that supports it. Simply cutting out dead space is a surface level tactic that might make your video fast, but it doesn't answer the real question: why would someone want to keep watching your video? Sometimes a moment of silence or a lingering shot can have way more emotional impact than cutting out all the pauses just to help it be fast. Think of how dramatic pauses are used in movies or TV shows to help build tension or let emotions sink in. On YouTube, those moments can be just as effective. Imagine you're editing a suspenseful scene where a character is about to make a huge decision. Instead of rushing to the outcome, you should let the tension build by holding on their expression and using slower cuts. This keeps viewers on the edge of their seats and makes the payoff way more satisfying. Your edits do not have to be fast, but the rhythm does need to be intentional and serve this story and emotion. But now that we've covered the most important rules of editing, it's time to discuss more tactical lessons that you can start implementing right away. So lesson 5 is hook your viewers in the first 30 seconds. The intro of a YouTube video is the most valuable real estate in the entire video. This is where viewers decide whether to stay or click away. So you need to grab their attention immediately. My best tip for this, and this also comes from Mr. Beast, is to match the expectations that were set by the thumbnail and title right away. For example, in Mr. Beast's Lamborghini vs Shredder video, the first thing viewers see is the Lamborghini about to fall into the shredder, which immediately matches their expectations set by the thumbnail and title. But Mr. Beast doesn't just stop there. He also builds tension by delaying the outcome and teasing other exciting moments to come. So in your edits, create a sense of curiosity or suspense early on. Give viewers a reason to stay, whether it's by previewing an upcoming moment, asking an intriguing question, or leaving them wondering what's going to happen next. But even if you have the best hook, your edit will still be boring if you don't implement this next lesson, which is lesson number 6, show, don't tell. One of the most effective editing principles is show, don't tell. Instead of explaining everything through voiceover or dialogue, use visuals, sound, and actions to convey your message. If a character is nervous, focus the edit on their shaking hands or their anxious face rather than just telling the audience that they're nervous. Combine this with tense music or sound effects to increase that feeling of anxiousness, and you'll begin to make your audience feel like they're right in the video with the character. For videos like tutorials even, use animations or B-roll to demonstrate concepts visually rather than relying on talking head footage like this. This makes content much more engaging and a lot easier to understand. So now you might have a good hook and your video may be a bit more engaging, but it will be hard to convey the emotion you want through visuals unless you learn this next lesson, which is lesson number 7, the Kuleshov Effect. The Kuleshov Effect, named after Soviet filmmaker Lev Kuleshov, is a classic film editing technique that shows how audiences draw emotional connections between two shots even when they're unrelated. To show this, Kuleshov performed an experiment where he placed a neutral shot of an actor's face next to different images: a plate of food, a woman, and a casket. And viewers believed that the actor's expression changed each time to reflect that he was hungry, he was attracted to the woman, or he was grieving, depending on the following image. This experiment highlighted a fundamental power of editing. By simply cutting between two images, you can suggest emotion or meaning even without dialogue. So, as you make each cut in your edit, you need to consider and ask yourself, what message are these clips telling my audience, and how can I convey this message more powerfully utilizing the Kuleshov effect? So now that you have all of these lessons, you might be thinking to yourself that you have a great video. But if you neglect this next lesson, your video becomes instantly unwatchable. And that next lesson is lesson 8, do not neglect audio. The exact percentage is up for debate, but I would argue that audio makes up about 75% of the viewing experience. Without good sound, even the best visuals will not matter, and this can be easily realized by trying to watch a movie on mute. The shots might be amazing and the action might be even crazier, but there's no audio, so you're not gonna watch the movie. But to have good audio, start by making sure that the voices in your video are clear and balanced. Use noise reduction tools if necessary and adjust the EQ to make the voices crisp. And of course, we can't forget about the music, which should match the tone of the scene. Dramatic music for tension, upbeat music for happy scenes, and so on. Also, don't sleep on sound effects. A subtle whoosh or a click sound for effects and transitions adds liveliness to the video and helps the viewer stay immersed and engaged in your edit. The key though is balance, because music and sound effects should enhance the story without overpowering your dialogue. Your audio choices should feel seamless, like they're part of the natural flow of the video and not drown out the voices of you or your characters. But I'm not gonna lie, these are a lot of lessons to take into account, and if you don't know how to edit quickly, you're gonna be wasting so many hours creating these edits. So the next lesson is lesson number 9, master keyboard shortcuts. Efficiency is super important for editors, especially if you're working on tight deadlines or full-time projects. Mastering keyboard shortcuts is going to save you so many hours in the long run. When I started editing, I kind of avoided shortcuts. I didn't really think they were that necessary, but once I committed to learning them, my workflow became 1,000 times faster. So with that said, start by learning the basics like cut, ripple delete, and copy and paste. Then start to customize your shortcuts for tasks that you do often, like nesting clips or even easy easing keyframes. The faster you can handle the technical tasks, the more time you'll have for creative decisions. And now that you have more time for the creative decisions, you need to know about this next lesson, because by implementing just this one thing, I was able to increase the retention in the middle of one of my videos I edited for 3 minutes straight, meaning no viewers clicked off and people actually rewatched this 3-minute segment multiple times, which showed an increase in the retention curve. And this next lesson is lesson number 10. Tension keeps retention. Tension is one of the most effective tools for keeping viewers engaged in your video, and to prove my point, let me show you the video I am talking about. I once edited a high stakes game of hide and seek for the Ireland boys where there was a $1,000 prize, and I was actually in this video myself. To set up the context, Nick was the only hider and he was hiding in a kayak in the middle of the lake. But us as the seekers didn't realize that at first. But then Nick's dad spotted him and jumped into the lake to swim towards him, while the rest of us hurried to search for jet ski keys and try and reach him faster. But to do this, we had to run inside and find the keys, which created a race between us and Nick's dad. But it also left Nick's dad swimming in the middle of the lake alone.
I'm not kidding, Nick, I got a cramp. Nick!
This is when the tension really grew, because while we were inside, Nick's dad started screaming that he was cramping in the middle of the lake.
Yo, I don't know, where's the keys, Mom? Are they out in the garage?
He started yelling for help, but Nick didn't believe him and thought it was just a trick to tag him.
Bro, I'm about to swim there too.
As the editor, I made the scene much more intense by showing only a faraway shot where you could only hear his dad's cries for help. I also used a slow pacing and added dramatic music called Life or Death to make viewers feel the danger. These editing choices kept the viewers on the edge of their seats and fully invested in the moment, which resulted in an increasing retention graph during this scene. And I've never heard this saying before, so definitely quote me when I say this, but the lesson here is tension keeps retention. And with that said, even if you use tension to keep viewers engaged, without this next lesson, your viewers may not even reach a point in the video where you get to that feeling of tension. So the next lesson is lesson 11, create curiosity gaps. Curiosity gaps are moments in your video where questions are raised in the viewers' minds and the viewers must keep watching in order to find the answers to the questions. And in order to raise questions in the viewer's mind, you can do this by highlighting future moments that are coming up, or even show crazy moments without context to help keep viewers curious. For example, you could preview a dramatic or funny scene early in the hook of the video, leaving viewers wondering how it's going to connect to the main story. You can also add things like voiceovers to hint at what's coming next, which creates a reason for viewers to keep watching. And that pretty much wraps up the final lesson of this video, but honestly, none of these lessons will even matter if you don't have clients to edit for. So if you are serious about improving your editing skills and you do want to land high-paying YouTubers to edit for, I have a free editing course showing you exactly how I earn over $5,000 per month as an editor working for the Ireland boys who have 5 million subscribers. And if you want access to that for completely free, just click the link below this video and I'll see you in there.